want to reiterate what my colleagues have said, that we are here for you. We want to support you. Just do your best and move fast, as the chair has said, that this may not really be very easy for you, but you need to give in and take extra time to ensure that you get your work done on time. I'm praying and hoping that all of us are going to graduate this year, but it all depends on you. So all the best as you do this defense and even as you move forward. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Who else? Another prof is here. Lee. Eunice.
I hope you can hear me.
No, Winnie, yes. Yeah, we can.
Okay, so I'm also grateful to be here and happy for the students for this far they have come. We know it has taken God's hand and their effort, and we don't take it for granted. Even as they go through this step, we are praying for them and we are here to support them. And we know that God is going to see them through. Amen.
Thank you. Is there anyone who have left? No. So those who are going to, you know yourself, I've opened, I'll open.
Good
Dr.
morning.
Yes, good
morning,
yes,
Dr.
morning.
Ayuya. How are you?
Very
and
well.
all the team and the students. I would like to thank you and thank the whole organizational team for the efforts, for the sacrifice. I echo your sentiments that indeed it is this kind of sacrifice is God's. It's only God who can give this kind of what can give people and lecturers and professors and the doctors here really to wake up for these students of ours that we love. So I'm wishing you the very best. You're here to learn, and whatever is told onto you is only to build you up. And may the Lord bless you all and wish you the very best. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you so much. So I think we should be fine. So at this point, I want to have those who are going to room 1 for Professor Menecha. I'll open the breakaway room. For those who are joining in, feel free to join in any room that you want. If you want to go, we have only 2 rooms, Professor Kabaji's and Professor. So Professor Kabaji is remaining in the main room, and Dr. Menecha is having his own room where only participants, the candidates who are supposed to go there can go. Evans, where you're going, which room? Who is your chair?
Dr. Menecha, room 2.
Please join that room. It is open. Can you be able to see it? Are you seeing it? Okay, Sheila, are you which room?
I'm in room 2.
Yeah, okay, can you join? Can you see it on your side?
Not really. Let me just check it out. Yes.
Okay. Who else is that room? Who have I left? Other students can join there freely. John Lope, which room?
Room 2.
John Lope, you are in which? Professor Kabaji's or in which room?
Dr. Menecha's room.
Can you join there? Okay, joined. I think those are. Is there anybody else who has not joined there? So Sheila, you are in Professor Kabaji's, right? Sheila? Okay, so Bernard, you are in this room, right?
Yes, I'm in room 1.
You are yourself. Evans Achola, you are in this room? Or which room? Everyone has joined to his room. Who
Dr.
else is
Ivia,
here? Yes.
Let me to Dr.
I'm
Manager.
supposed
You're supposed to?
to join room 2.
Hmm.
I can't see it on my end.
Mm.
I think likewise, I'm supposed to be in Menencha's team. I can't see it on my end.
Okay, that is Lee. Assigned to this room. Have you
Chair,
seen
you
it?
can also do the same. Do the same to me. You can take me. I'm using a different gadget here.
Okay.
Take me to room 2. Yeah.
I hope
Okay.
I've taken here. Sheila, have I sent you? Yes, I've already sent you there. Anybody else? Okay. So we want to start here. Students, feel free to join randomly in either room, that other room, or you remain here. There is only one room that is available. So you either one. So Professor Kabaji, meanwhile, I think you have Bernard. Who else is here? So you have your examiner who are here. That should be.
Doc, kindly take me to Dr. Menecha's room.
Oh,
I think I can't sit on my side.
that is Winnie.
Dr. Sitati.
Okay. Have you seen it now? It should be now.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I also want to join room 2.
Mm-hmm. I want Professor Kabaji to begin. So I'll try.
Could you also? Okay, I've seen it.
So Bernard, who I'm wondering, Eunice Odong, where is it? So it's only in this room, Bernard alone, who is available, because we want to start. This was supposed to be Bernard. Examiners. So we have in Professor Kabaji, we have Bernard, Elizabeth, and Madiang. So Bernard, you'll begin as I look for these 2 other students with Prof. Prof is there, and your examiners are here. Prof, your examiners are here. We have Winnie and Dr. Susan Wandera, who are already high in this room. So I think you can start as I look for the other 2 candidates. Please.
Dr. Ayuya.
Yeah. Oh.
I thought there was this student called
Bernard.
Lemakat.
Who? Yes, Joshua. Where is Joshua? Joshua
there is that student called Lemakat also.
Let me look for the 2. Please go ahead.
Joshua Lemakat.
Yes. Let me look for them.
So far, we have, how many students do we have here? So far,
you had 4.
We have 4.
And who
we should have 4?
All in here. How many are in here?
No, Bernard is here already, so you can start.
Good. So we can start with Bernard as we wait for these other candidates. I want to take this opportunity first to appreciate the examiners for finding time for this opportunity, for this assignment. I also want to thank the candidates. Now that we have Bernard, welcome. I want to assure you that we are here to improve your work. And you have to take what we are saying positively so that we improve and make your work better. So ours is to make your work better. I want to give this opportunity to the examiners to say something, and then we start off right away. Dr. Wandera.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor. We appreciate your lead, and we are happy to have you. I want to also appreciate my co-examiner, Winnie, and really to tell our students we are here to hear what you've done so far and to give you support, as I've said in the main hall.
Don't think that you're on the seat of judgment. No. This is not a judgment session. Just look at yourself as a scholar who is making ways. And this is one of the days that should go down in your mind, even in your CV, that you defended your work to show that the work belongs to you. You defended the work to a panel of other scholars who supported you. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best. Asante sana, Professor.
Thank you very much, Winnie.
Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity that you have given it to me. I just want to encourage the students and to just tell them that our journey has just begun of writing your thesis, and any comments made here are done in honest good faith, just to improve your work, and therefore take it seriously, so that you can be able to structure your work better. Thank you so much, and may the Lord bless. And I wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Dr. Winnie. Now we can proceed. Bernard, you have 10 minutes to present. It is now 6:58. Make sure you take your 10 minutes and use them well in making sure that we get to understand all those important areas that I believe we need to interrogate. Bernard, proceed. Bernard?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Professor, and the doctors in the house. I want to appreciate all of you for the great opportunity you have granted us, and more so to all the students who are defending in this third group, despite a lot of back and forth. Allow me to share my screen. Are you able to see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Thank you. So I want to appreciate also my supervisors. Maybe just to introduce myself, I'm Bernard Wandera. I'm a teacher by profession, and I've happened to also manage a children home in Dagoretti. And apart from that, I've been greatly involved in community development. And so this has been my area. I've seen children home transition, and I thought that I could add value in this transition process, because it had also a lot of back and forth. So I want to also appreciate my supervisors, that's the supervisor, Professor Laba Nairo, and also Dr. Caroline Mwendwa, for great guidance. In terms of my topic, is about socioeconomic factors influencing successful transition from charitable children institutions to home care settings in Dagoretti. And from my background, the background of my study, Kenya has approximately 45,000 children in charitable children institutions. And according to the Kenyan data, the children homes are also about 850. And that is as 20 UNICEF 2020. Progressive decentralization policies, including the guidelines and alternative care reforms strategy of 2018 to 2022, aims to transition children from home care settings from institutional to home care settings. I realized during my study, as I was continuing, that there was a gap, and the big gap here is a significant mismatch between policy intent and on the ground practice, mostly like in Dagoretti here. Dagoretti sub-county has high concentration of children charitable children institutions with diverse economic, socioeconomic profiles, and some of the settlements. The understanding of socioeconomic factors that enable or hinder successful transition is a big thing here, even as we continue, that I'll be able to defend. In terms of my problem statement, I looked at my manifestation. There has been shift in terms of institutional, there has been a big shift in terms of institutional to family-based care with varying degrees. And in terms of content, there has been poor preparation of receiving families because some of the families have not been ready. There has been insufficient post-placement follow-ups and lack of understanding. In terms of the global evidence, I've done some research in terms of this transition, deinstitutionalization in Romania, which happened very well. I think I'll be able to share more about it, and also Cambodia, Ethiopia, and Uganda. In terms of knowledge, I've seen also some gap. My research is addressing some gap. There has been little focus placed on socioeconomic realities of families receiving children, particularly in Dagoretti, as shown by Petrosky et al. 2017. There is also risk. Implementation without understanding all transition elements can create new vulnerabilities to children placed under resourced home care. That's Goldman et al. 2020. In terms of the audience, I'm looking at this study helping Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Directorate of Children Services, policymakers, and then the children protection practitioners, the NGOs, the donor organization, and broader academic community interested in child welfare. The purpose of my study is to investigate factors underlying successful transition of orphaned and vulnerable children from charitable children institution to home care settings in Dagoretti. The objective of the study is to determine household economic factors, which include income, employment status, housing, stability. This influence successful reintegration of children from CCI to home care environments. The second objective is to evaluate the level of access to social services, and this include education, healthcare, social protection, which are available for families receiving children from charitable children institutions in Dagoretti. The third one is to determine the impact of household economic factors of families' ability to access the social services during the reintegration process. I'm also looking at examining the role of community support systems and networks in facilitating successful transition from CCI to home-based care. The research questions: what household economic factors influence the successful transition of children from CCIs to family care environments in Dagoretti? What is the level of access to social services among families receiving children transitioning from CCI to home-based care in Dagoretti? How do household economic factors affect the family's capacity to access social services during the transition process? What role do community support system and networks play in facilitating successful transition from CCI to home-based care? The hypothesis, the null hypothesis, socio-economic factors have no impact on successful transition from CCIs to home-based care. And the alternative hypothesis says socioeconomic factors have a significant impact on successful transition from CCI to home-based care. The significance of this study, the study is very, very helpful. My my research is going to help policymakers to give them evidence-based information, insights for decentralization policies, therefore addressing the gaps between policy aspirations and implementation realities. It's also going to help child protection practitioners, the CCI administrators, the donor entities, children and families in terms of improved transition that account to socio-economic realities, leading to better child well-being outcome and family stability pre and post-transition. The limitations of my study, the findings from Dagoretti sub-county may not be directly generalizable to broader Kenyan contexts, particularly rural settings, and also access to CCI administrators opposed to reform and families with negative reintegration experiences may be challenging, potentially introducing selection bias. There is also it's going to be sensitive nature of child protection may also restrict participant disclosure and data comprehensiveness, considering that many of these children are coming from different families, and also there is issue of data protection. Delimitation, studies intentionally focused on Dagoretti sub-county, an urban context with high concentration of CCIs and diverse socioeconomic profiles. The second delimitation is limited to transitions occurring within the past 3 years. Basically, if you look at also maybe ranging 2019 to 2024, balancing recall accuracy with observation outcomes. There is rigorous ethical protocols, including guaranteed anonymity and strict confidentiality, will be maintained throughout all the stages of data collection and reporting to facilitate participants' openness and protective sensitive information, thus countering the limitation of restricted disclosure. In terms of my theories, the theoretical framework related to my study, I picked 3 theories. Ecological systems theory by Bronfenbrenner, that is 1979, which provides more about the framework of microsystem. We're looking at the environment where a child is being able to change the personality and the kind of a person that child is. So the Bronfenbrenner theory talks about the environment being able to change the perception, being able to change the child, being able to shape how the child is developing and also growing up. And this is divided into 5 systems. This is microsystem, which is more of things that are the child is relating to each and every time. There is also mesosystem, the structures around. There is exosystem, which include the government policies. There are microsystem, the cultures also helping in shaping. And also there is the issue of time. As time goes, the chronology, things also get to change. The second theory that I picked is capabilities approach theory, and this is by Sen 2024. This shifts focus from what families possess to what families actually can do. Highlights how structural inequalities constrain families' ability to reintegrate children regardless of motivation. You will realize the first theory talks about the environment. The second theory talks about their capability. And when we are looking at children's capability, it's about what they can do. And so it looks about empowerment. And if they're empowered, then they are able to do great exploits. There is also an issue of family stress and adaptation theory, also known as double ABCX. The O'Maccabin and Patterson of 1983. As we are transitioning children there are a lot of issues that are happening in terms of, there are psychological issues also that are involved. So being able to manage the psychological issues of children and also the families receiving children, they are very, very important. So I picked the three theories. They support each other. There is the aspect of the environment where they grow, helping shape their development and being empowered so that they can also be able to do great exploits and come out of the comfort zones and say we can be able to do it, and also looking at the psychological part of their life. In terms of the conceptual framework, I looked at independent variables in my study, which include socio-economic factors like household income, the social services access, the community support. There are intervening variables, the decentralization policy, the National Care Reform Strategy of 2018 and 2022. There are dependent variables. These are going to help in successful transition, outcome, the placement stability, child well-being, and also family integration. The moderating variables will help in shape the strength and direction of the relationship, which include gender, age, family type, and also I'm looking at the residence. In terms of literature review, I reviewed my study, and it looked at various aspects. In terms of global evidence, as I introduced, I talked about Romania, and Romania had a very nice transition of children, various homes. By around 2020, they were completing transition of children from institutions to now home care. And that was about almost 160 institutions being transitioned, which was a very, very great success story that majority have learned from. And my analysis on this is from global evidence that family-based care yields superior developmental outcome over institutional care. This helps in cognitive, emotional, social, and physical development. That is according to Van et al. 2008. The Bucharest says earlier intervention project provide RCT evidence. Institutionalized children performed significantly worse than children placed in foster care across multiple development drains, which shows that whenever children are contained in an institution, they get to miss a number of things. In terms of the African context, we've had countries like Uganda, our neighbors. There are also Ethiopia that have also worked on the institutionalized policy. And I'm looking at household in Africa. I'm looking at household economics, studying also more. Studying the study is also helping more on service access, community networks. And in terms of policy gap, which is a big issue, that African decentralization efforts are broadly undermined by the absence of household economic assessment framework, resulting in placement in families unable to sustain care. Household economic empowerment must be central, not peripheral to Africans' transition planning agenda. And that is according to Cosgren 2025 and also Nyamu and Wamuhu 2022. So we've been able to learn from our neighbors, as I mentioned, Ethiopia and also Uganda, that had the same transition. If I come back to Kenya, our country, and basically Nairobi as a county, I'm looking at my study is going to help look at institutionalization drivers. Studies in Nairobi found that CCI children are not orphans. And this is very, very interesting that 2/3 had at least one living parent. Poverty, social vulnerability, not orphanhood are the primary placement drivers. As we all know, poverty should not be the reason why children are put in institutions. But
Bernard, you already have taken 15 minutes.
Okay, let me wrap up. Poverty should not be an issue. So in terms of Kenyan context, that is a very, very major thing. And then my literature review in terms of social services, that children need these services to help them. In terms of research methodology, philosophical underpinning mine, I'm looking at pragmatism, which practical implications of research, critical realistic ontology, the research design, convergent parallel mixed methods. My research is focusing on quantitative and qualitative data collected simultaneously, analyzed separately, then synthesized. A qualitative strategy, look at cross-sectional survey design using structured household questionnaires to obtain statistically significant data. In terms of qualitative strategy, phenomenological approach using in-depth interviews, focus groups, discussion, and documents analysis. My study area is Dagoretti sub-county, and I'm looking at Mutuini ward. The target population, looking at the 18 CCIs, I'll focus on at least 15, and then the household sample of 47, which will include, these are qualitative sample, 12 CCI staff, 15 key informants, therefore 12 participants, the total sample of 74 participants across all components. Lastly, in terms of data collection methods, as I shared, the structured household questionnaire, semi-structured interview guides, document analysis, data collection period. I'm looking at 3 months. This 3 months period, I've been working on it, and I'm going to continue as guided by this team. The unit of analysis, household qualitative component, individual stakeholders experience, that is qualitative component, and the data analysis, once again, qualitative analysis. So I looked at mixed method where I'll involve qualitative and also quantitative. The ethical consideration, finally, informed consent. Have to get all participants fully informed of research purpose, procedures, expected benefits, and potential risks. There will be confidentiality and also anonymity. All data, written and verbal, stored securely. Because this involves children, so there is an aspect of child protection. They are vulnerable, looking at also vulnerable population, and are also going to follow the conditions set.
Bernard, you have taken 20 minutes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Allow me to end there, but my study is focusing on helping children being transitioned well from institution to home care settings. Thank you, and sorry for taking more time.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Please give us the first page, the first top page. Yeah, socioeconomic factors influencing successful transition from charitable children's institutions to home care settings in Dagoretti, Nairobi. Is Dagoretti written with double T?
Yes, it's written with double T.
Good. Dr. Wandera, proceed.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bernard. And yes, we salute you for the work so far you've doing. A very relevant topic in what is happening today in terms of trying to actually deinstitutionalize our, what we call the children's home, for the integration in the home factor. Your study, socioeconomic factors influencing successful transition from charitable children's institutions. Now, allow me to just first highlight the following.
Yes.
That as I looked at your work,
yes,
there are various things even in the intro, in the introduction, I noted that the global aspect, the regional, was a bit subtle or silent in the section 1, chapter 1, and you tended to enrich it more in your literature review. And so I feel that there's some information that you have in the literature review, which you may need to bring to our chapter 1 to enrich it more. You know, that global context, the African context, because that's really, that's the background, Some of it, which has, you have enriched it more, or you've put it more in chapter 2, may need to come to chapter 1. And in this chapter, when I looked at still this background, I felt like what are the primary socioeconomic obstacles that possibly families face during reintegration? What are these primary obstacles, the socioeconomic obstacles? This is what makes it, because your study is on socioeconomic factors. So I feel like in chapter 1, you may need to really make it more clearer, these primary obstacles during reintegration. I've not seen much to do. You know, currently in Kenya, we are having what we are calling the National Care Reform Strategy. I expected to see that because you are looking at the challenge or the gap we are having. So I thought I would see some small brief write-up on how the National Care Reform Strategy in Kenya is actually aiming to ensure that these institutions are deinstitutionalized so that we have the integration in homes. And also ultimately, what I didn't find very clear is how the housing or the income stability, how does the income stability affect the long-term well-being of a child, looking at it from a long-term aspect. And so, yeah, I appreciate most of the things and the write-up in this chapter, but I think you can look at that, the clarity of it. The theories, that is the ecological systems theory, the capabilities approach, and the home stress and adaptation theory, they have created quite a good, really analytical framework. I love the choice of those theories. But I have found the linkage of the three in terms of explaining the challenge of one and how it is complemented by the other a little bit weak. There's a weak linkage in actually the connectivity of those three theories as far as your topic is concerned. So I will request that you do that. Improve on the subtitles in your chapter 2, because the subheadings of chapter 2 are purely supposed to be your thematic areas. And that's why I've said you may have to reduce on that global, regional in your chapter 2 and bring some of it in your first chapter. Your target population. Bernard, can you say something about your target population?
Yeah.
What is your target population, Bernard?
As I shared earlier, thank you so much, Dr. Susan Wandera for mentioning a couple of things. Let me appreciate that you've mentioned my chapter 2, mostly the global research. I will talk more about it in chapter 1. So that is an area that I'll be able to change. You realize even during my explanation, probably I also talked more about it during literature review. So that is something I'll get to review. As I mentioned in Dagoretti, we're looking at 18 charitable children institutions, and I'm hoping that with this institution, because most of this proximity from one children home to another, you find they are very, very close. So I'm looking at this 18 children home at least being able to do research in 15 homes, and the total population is we're looking at least 47 households that are being prepared to receive these children, getting to give information. And also I'm looking at the 12, being able to interview 12 CCI staff and 15 key informants who are going to help more with the information. So total number of informants are 27.
Yeah, because when I was thinking about your target population,
yeah,
focusing on the 70 household, and then the calculated sample size of 47.
yeah,
I thought this target population is relatively small in this Motoine ward.
yeah,
And even the 47, okay, whereas the 47 is actually very statistically valid for the population,
yes,
you may have to reconsider using the Yamin formula, because
yes,
if you're going to use the Yamin formula to actually get that sample size, it may limit your ability to actually generalize your findings, especially when you have to generalize your findings to other rural contexts in Kenya. So
yeah,
it's an area of consideration.
yeah,
Because when you look at the study,
yes,
the study really seeks a very contextual particularity, or do I call it specificity? So you can make it stronger. You can strengthen this study by thinking of expanding your sampling frame. You can expand your sampling frame so that you don't just necessarily have to be within this very small, okay, in quotes, Motoine. You can get another settlement,
yes,
so that that sample frame is bigger. You can retain the sample size, but you can expand your sampling frame.
yes.
We are together.
Yes, we are together.
Because this will allow you to have really not just for comparative analysis, but it will give you some aspect of the socioeconomic drivers across a different target. So
yes,
I would suggest that you think about expanding your sampling frame.
yes,
I noted in your, when you are talking about in your study, you have spoken about successful transition as a sustained reintegration of not less than 6 months. That's your definition from your operation of definitions. But when you look at your literature review, it actually says that the international guidelines and Kenyan policy, they say that monitoring should be at least 2 years. So there's a gap there, 2 years to ensure long-term stability. And this one is able to prevent the aspect of the placement disruptions. So that conflicting, again, I come and say that you can consider extending the time frame. The time frame for what constitutes a successful transition. You can maybe include some kind of a plan so that you are within what the international guidelines and the Kenyan policy suggest of monitoring that successful transition. So that's an area you may need. Or you may then have to acknowledge that you are representing a short-term success. But if what you are presenting in your study is not a short-term success indicator, then you have to be in compliance with the international guidelines and also what the Kenyan policy suggests. Because remember, that is one of the gaps that you are talking about, the gap between policy and practice as far as the reintegration process in Kenya is concerned. So again, you don't become a partaker of riding on the mismatch between policy and practice. In your study, the primary tool that you have used for measuring the child well-being is actually the structured household questionnaire, isn't it?
Yes.
And this structured household questionnaire is administered to the primary caregiver, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, this means that to a very large extent, the study is relying heavily on the caregiver's perception of the child's safety or belonging, and even the child's psychological adaptation. Do you already see a gap in that?
Yes, I do. It's an
You
area.
can see there's a respondent bias.
Yeah.
There's a respondent bias. So can you think and consider having a direct assessment of the children? Maybe you can have some kind of a standardized, maybe age-appropriate psychometric tool that is child-friendly, that can interview and capture the child's perspective independently from the caregiver. So let us have the voice of the child, because the voice of the caregiver cannot be the last. And that means there are a few things you may think to look at in your study. So that one is a bias in terms of the child and the feelings of the child. Yeah. Maybe before I can now, my core can come, I can also talk about I saw an element of a selection bias. When you look at the charitable children's organization, you relied heavily on the administrators as opposed to the reform or families. I think it's good to think about the families that have maybe experienced difficulty in integrating these children. You can have some kind of a snowballing sampling, a snowballing where you are able to reach the families when you are defined. Maybe they know each other. Again, that is some kind of a bias, which I have seen in your study. And when you also, your study actually, the gap, the policy gap that you are really very particular about in the integration, you need to become very deliberate and intentional. That as you highlight that fundamental gap between the theoretical availability of the social services and the actual utilization by families, you must become deliberate in mapping very specific facilities so that we are able to capture, when you talk about that gap, what is it that could be bringing it up? Is it the school cost? Is it the health facilities? Is it the profession of the basic things? Because this will provide a more evidence-informed. It gives more evidence-informed. What's the cost of taking a child to school? How easily is it to have accessibility to the health? Map that one out very specifically. Because what I noted with your study, I find it very broad. When you look at your objectives, I was seeing each of the objectives almost looks like a study of its own because of the broad aspect. And that's why these specifics, narrow specifics, that brings out the gap between policy and practice are not clearly coming out. Determining the socioeconomic factors, that alone is a full entire study. So be clear so that you can narrow down and clearly bring out these policy gaps and these mitigations that will make the reintegration of these children in homes more manageable and the government is aware. Thank you so much and welcome, Winnie.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bernard, I would like to congratulate you for coming this far. And really, Dr. Wandera has summed it all. Similarly, having the same, more or less the same challenges on this topic, but it's a good topic that can give is relevant and policy oriented, definitely, especially given this shift from institutional care to family and community-based care. However, equally as Dr. Wandera has put it, most of the problems that I see here are coming actually stemming from the topic. You know, when you look at socio-economic, it's huge. It's conceptual breadth. What exactly are you looking at? Income? Are you looking at the education, housing, social support? And that is where it mars your objectives. So that your objectives are not very clear. There are too many variables they have highlighted to you. Also, when you talk about successful transition, there's an ambiguity there again. I want you, and you have referred to in your paper, the term reintegration. And that to me, I feel you should actually use it rather than using that term transition. Successful reintegration. Again, I had to look at this from charitable children's institution. Charitable children's institution. There are many, actors within that that population. And so I would like you to be more specific because you're talking, this is a children's institution. And there are many caregivers out there, families, and all that. Geographical limitation, again, you had Dagoretti. Why Dagoretti? But when you narrowed it down to Mwituni word, which is not even in your topic as a case area of study, then it also shrinks your population and those that you're targeting. How many children homes are in Dagoretti? Is it?
Yeah.
So you if you can find out, because there are quite a number of children's homes, maybe you can expand that scope as you have been advised. But you keep mentioning Mutuini ward, and you should be very careful there, because how many children homes are in Mutuini? And if you do so, then you need to incorporate it into your topic. So I mean, I would suggest, but with your help of your supervisor, that you look at the social factors, socioeconomic factors, maybe that you can manage influencing the successful reintegration of children from charitable children's institution. Because definitely your topic has completely narrowed to the children. So once you remove those areas that clouds your topic, then I think the rest would go. Because it was very hard for me to actually spot what is your real gap, because it's neither income here, it's neither social something here. And I think that socio-economic thing is becoming broader and wider. And so you're not able to really come up with a gap, actual gap. So you need to really work on that. I think the others, yes, there was a problem again, as Dr. Wandera has said. You began with Romania, global, but when it came to regional and national, there was very little literature there. Your statement again of is quite visible. We can see the problems. There is a logical progression, but be precise on matters of making your gap again visible. I would not go to the objectives. I have made my comments there that you must recast all your objectives. You see, an objective is just like it must have dependent variables, and it must incorporate your topic. But in this case, there are too many variables in all objectives, and in fact, Bernard does not conform to the blue taxonomy, because your last objective, in which you're supposed to either evaluate or policies, strategies, you're actually beginning to examine. And so that again, you need to recast all that. I think I can pen it down there, because I had also, in methodology, I had a problem with the kind of population, their target population. It wasn't, the population was too small, and exactly Dr. Wandera has spoken. And I have also highlighted, even in red, that perhaps this Mutini ward, you may have to expand and look at how many other, so that you mention in your introduction, and mention that I have chosen Dagoretti. It has quite a number of these particular children homes, and so that you can work on it and expand your KIEs and all that sampling. Yes, I think I will put it there because the rest really have been dealt with by Dr. Wandera. Thank you so much, Prof. And
thank you so much, Winnie. Thank you so much, Dr. Wandera, for that input in Bernard's work. Bernard, I'm sure you have you have understood there are quite a number of areas that you need to recast. I don't want to repeat what my colleagues have said, but you have quite some work to do. going back to the objectives, looking closely at the topic, looking at these other areas that they have pointed out, I think you need to take that very seriously and revisit your proposal so that you incorporate what they have just pointed out. I want to give you a minute or two.
Prof, just before, would you allow me just 1 minute to
Yes, go ahead.
make a comment? One, I know that the examiners have been raising the issue of your sample, but as you talk about households, there are no respondents called households. So it's important to be clear who you are engaging within the households. And secondly, you have done some translations. I don't know what informs that, because in your limitations, you've not raised any issue around language or anything. And so that is also an issue of concern. If you could work around that, it would be good. Thanks, Prof.
Thank you very much for that comment, Job. I think it is important, and I believe that Bernard has had it. Bernard, I am giving you 2 minutes to make a comment, and then we proceed to the next candidate. Bernard?
Thank you, Chair, Professor Gara Kabaji, for guiding me together with Dr. Susan Wandera, Dr. Winnie, and also Job for insights. I find the insights you have given me very, very helpful, and I'm going to widen my net in terms of the number of people I'm meeting, so that this research helps the entire country in terms of transitioning children to family settings, because this has been an issue. There has been opposition from children home directors, and also opposition from people receiving children. And this kind of research will be very, very helpful to the whole country for children to be transitioned in a better manner. I think I'll widen my net in terms of even the number of people I'm meeting, so that my research and also the findings are very, very important to help people who will read and also implement it. But I want to thank all of you for guiding me. I'll get back to this work, and I'll do a good work. I know by the time I'm coming back, you will get to see the difference and all the insights you have pointed out. Otherwise, I appreciate all of you, and have a blessed day.
Thank you so much, Bernard. We wish you all the best. Look at the minutes very closely and work with your supervisors to improve that document. Let us move to the second candidate, who is it Elizabeth?
Yes, and Prof, as the new candidates come in, they came in a little bit late, sadly, but one of the candidates is hospitalized, so Madiang will not present today. However, we ask Elizabeth and Joshua to keep to 10 minutes, and then your examiners can shorten this so that we can we can ensure that we get out of time here. But the two candidates, you have only 10 minutes. You have to have your camera on and ensure that you also have your internet that is stable. So Elizabeth, pick up.
Yeah, we are not doing very well in terms of time. Bernard took 20 minutes instead of 10. I want to urge the candidates to keep time. I would like to call upon Elizabeth to proceed. Elizabeth, it is 9 minutes to 8. You have 10 minutes to present your work. Proceed.
Okay, thank you. Good morning to everybody. I'll go straight into the work after acknowledging your support, and I'll now share my screen. So my study is dyslexia in Kenya primary schools, navigating learning or reading difficulties among learners in Lang'ata sub-county, Nairobi County, Kenya. The background of the problem dyslexia is the most prevalent specific learning disability globally affecting.
Elizabeth, can you use slide mode to put your work? People cannot see properly. Can you use that cup or wine glass at the top, or slideshow and say from beginning so that it is in the slide format?
Slide control.
No, can you go up the red bar where they say slideshow? The red bar up with you, slideshow, where you have file, home, design, transition, animation, slideshow. Can you go take your cursor?
Okay. Okay.
Say from beginning. Say from beginning, from the extreme right.
Okay. Then I just
continue.
Okay. Fine. So it's not moving, are you?
You have to move with your cursor with your laptop. So move with your arrow with your cursor.
Okay.
Use,
Background of the problem. Dyslexia is the most prevalent specific learning disability globally, affecting 5 to 10% of the world population. In Lang'ata sub-county, Nairobi County in specific, an estimated 10 to 15% of the primary school learners I'm having some problem here.
Elizabeth, can you continue the cursor that was moving to the right? You can't go back. Yes, continue.
Yeah, it's just blocking part of my reading, the pictures. That's what I'm having a challenge with.
I don't know which pictures are on yours. What pictures?
The people present, myself, my video, and
Elizabeth, we want you to talk to your work. Don't read it for us. Talk to it.
Okay. Fine. So the background of this problem is the main hook is that there's low identification of dyslexia among learners in Lang'ata sub-county. Research suggests that in Lang'ata sub-county, we found that only 69% of teachers are aware that their learners have dyslexia in the classrooms, and many learners with dyslexia are misclassified as academically weak or unmotivated. So moving on, I'll go to the statement of the problem. The core problem that we are facing as educators in Lang'ata sub-county as a sample that represents the whole population is under-identification and misidentification of dyslexia in primary schools. The first gap that I identified from previous studies is the diagnostic gap, and this is the absence of standardized or culturally responsive screening tools. Then the next gap is conceptual misattribution. Their reading difficulties interpreted as low motivation. So children are misinterpreted as not being motivated to learn. That is a gap. The third gap, instructional misalignment, and this basically refers to the literacy approaches while addressing phonological deficits. This one, the educators are the ones who suffer from this gap as they misinterpret this prevalence amongst the learners. All these explanations are based on Matthew's effect, Stanovich, 1986, where early reading failure widens the achievement gap over time. I'll now move on to the purpose of the study. The main purpose of this study is to investigate how learners navigate reading difficulties in primary schools in Kenya. Once the purpose is established, we are going to be able to assess the level of teacher awareness and knowledge of dyslexia among primary school teachers in the sub-county. We are going to examine the screening and identification practices used by teachers so that we can detect reading difficulties with dyslexia. The purpose of this study will further enhance us to evaluate the instructional approaches employed by teachers in the classroom. and we'll explore more challenges faced by the teachers so that we can better support them in identifying dyslexia in learners at an early stage, therefore being able to support them further. I'll move on to the research objectives. My research objectives, objective number 1, to assess the level of teacher awareness and the knowledge of dyslexia among primary school teachers in Lang'ata Sub-County, Nairobi County. My second objective is to examine the screening and identification practices used by primary school teachers in assessing reading difficulties associated with dyslexia. The third objective is to evaluate the instructional approaches employed by primary school teachers to assist learners with reading difficulties. And finally, my fourth objective is to explore the challenges faced by primary school teachers in identifying and supporting learners with dyslexia in Lang'ata Sub-County. My research questions that I came up with are: what is the level of teacher awareness and knowledge of dyslexia among primary school learners in Lang'ata Sub-County, Nairobi County? My second question is: what screening and identification practices do primary school teachers use to detect reading difficulties associated with dyslexia? The third question is: what instructional approaches do primary school teachers employ to support learners with reading difficulties in Lang'ata Sub-County? And my fourth question is: what challenges do primary school teachers face in identifying and supporting learners with reading difficulties in Lang'ata Sub-County? The significance of the study: once this study proceeds as it has begun, it will be very important, especially for teachers and educators. The teachers will be able to use evidence-based strategies for phonological processing deficits, as are explained in the theories that I will explain later. It is also very critical for learners, once we are able to identify their issues early, there will be improved early identification, which safeguards learners' mental health, their self-esteem, and the support that we are also going to give them once we identify it early. Teacher education: the significance of this study will help teachers to be more aware by providing a template for incorporating dyslexia awareness. Policymakers in the industry of education, and these include the KICD, there's going to be empirical evidence to strengthen inclusive education, which is already a challenge in most of our primary and secondary schools. So this study is going to enhance that evidence so that there can be changes that will promote and enhance inclusive education, among other needs, despite dyslexia. The academic community that contributes to the limited body of African context research on dyslexia will also benefit from this study. And finally, the national agenda with the SDG 4 of 2030, we are going to be able to bridge the global knowledge gap and the local practice. As we proceed, the limitations and delimitations. Limitation number 1, there are resource constraints in Kenyan classrooms. My study is mainly based in public primary schools, and the main challenge we have is large class sizes of about 70 in a class. So resource constraints.
Elizabeth, take note of the fact that you have consumed your 10 minutes.
Okay, I'll hurry up and finish. There are resource constraints in Kenyan classrooms. There's low teacher awareness. There's Kenyan linguistic diversity, among others. The delimitation, the scope is limited to dyslexia. We are geographically confined to 18 public primary schools, among others. Moving on swiftly to the theoretical framework. The theoretical framework suggests the anchor theory, phonological processing deficit theory. The second theory is the simple view of reading by Go and Tanma, 1986. And also the third theory I am basing my research on is orthographic mapping theory by Ehri and Kilpatrick. The conceptual framework, those are the variables. The independent variable highlights the causes, and here we can include the teacher awareness. The dependent variable, as they have been outlined below, have the effects These are the primary outcomes that I'm measuring. And finally, the moderating variables are the context, as highlighted below. The literature review, this is the global evidence on dyslexia. We can highlight Wolf and Bowers, 1999, double deficit hypothesis. These are combined deficits in phonological awareness that produce the most severe reading difficulties. The literature review, where we have African and Kenyan context, I will cite Moragwa, Ouma and Gure 2016, Langata. Only 69% of teachers are aware they have dyslexic learners. Summary of the knowledge gaps, the diagnostic gap, there is no standardized validated screening instrument normed on Kenyan population. The awareness gap, there is low teacher awareness. I will highlight the instructional gap, predominance of generalized behavioral remediation. There's a contextual gap, dual orthography, demand of Kiswahili and English creates orthographic friction for dyslexic learners. The translation gap, there is robust global evidence that has not been translated into contextualized, actionable practice. Then we move on to the research methodology. I have the philosophical paradigm, the research design, quantitative strand, among others. And then the target population, 840, the study population has 840 classroom teachers with 18 head teachers across 18 public primary schools. The quantitative sampling, I will use your mains formula of 0.05 or more or higher, and the oversample will have 298 as the target. The qualitative sample, I will have interviews for 18 head teachers across the public primary schools. There will be sampling strategy, inclusion criteria, and exclusion criteria. Data collection instrument, as highlighted, I'll also have a questionnaire and the data analysis plan. The quantitative analysis, I'll use SPSS. For the qualitative, I'll use NVivo because I have a convergent mixed design. Those are my ethical considerations. I'll move on quickly to thank you for the time that you have given me to present my defense. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I would like to call upon our examiners to proceed. Winnie.
Thank you, Prof, for this opportunity. And also would like to thank Elizabeth Mumbo for this topic that is can provide new information on difficulties facing dyslexia learners. Good topic indeed, but I have a problem with the navigating certain phrases here. It is unclear whether the study focuses on learners, teachers. Are you targeting parents, school, managing the management? So dyslexia in Kenyan primary schools, navigating reading difficulties among learners in Langata sub-county. Yes, so you need to really ask yourself, who exactly are you targeting? As, for example, if you were to assessment of dyslexia management strategies, you know, among only learners in primary schools? Or are you looking at teachers' preparedness in identifying and supporting learners? I use that is, you need to sit down. Of course, I have proposed that and I've given you so that you can relook at it. Dyslexia is a specific learning disability. while reading is another difficulty. Here, Elizabeth. So you must explain what are the factors that bring out this, so that you narrow your topic to certain specifics.
Okay.
You should be able to distinguish between the two. The scope Langata sub-county, I guess, is good and diverse. And I think you can be able to get quite some studies from there. But I want you cannot spread all over. Are you looking at public schools, private schools, or a particular grade learner? So you need to also make it quite specific in your topic, so that it becomes more specific with more clarity. If you're looking at, then you must mention perhaps primary, public, or whatever. You must be very specific so that you don't go too far, and yet you're covering the entire Langata sub-county. That would make it, unless you're looking at certain specific issue, like the teachers' preparedness in identifying and supporting learners with, that in Langata school. Introduction is, I found it quite okay. It establishes the existence and the prevalence of dyslexia, but it is weak in demonstrating the research problem and gap. You need to incorporate from the onset, show how the dyslexia affects learners in Langata, the manifestation of this problem.
Okay.
What is the real issue here? Is it, for example, poor reading outcome? It is lack of teachers, not enough teachers. And then the research gap will just fall into itself. You need also a few empirical studies, evidence, so that you can be able to also find out that gap. Justify why Langata. Why Langata? I will go to the objectives again. You need to rework on these objectives. Align also your objectives to blue taxonomy.
I think, Nani, Elizabeth, you need to be moving with your slides. Go as the Winnie is talking about dyslexia and on this side, on dyslexia, on these objectives or whatever. You need to be moving with your slides.
Okay.
So at objectives now.
Yes, and I have put it there. Thank you, Dr. Daktari. And I put suggestions there for you, so that you're good in certain areas, like the rationale. The significance of the study. It is well articulated, emphasizing contributions, obviously, to policy and research. But your problem, if you tighten your topic, so that you get clarity and you get the gap and the visibility of this study. Scope, of course, is you need to explain exactly why you've chosen that area. Theoretical underpinnings chosen, good, and I found them relevant and well explained also. But you need to now nuance and weave the two and explain why these two theoretical underpinnings have been chosen. You have adopted the Fadel style, global to Langata, in your literature, I'll make sure you align all these, both empirical and also your general literature review to your thematic areas of your objectives. Don't introduce any other themes that have no relevance at all to your objectives. Always look at your objectives so that your themes can be, can come in from there, and then link also, and that had a problem with you had a problem stemming from your topic on the conceptual framework. The dependent variable, okay, dyslexia, but the independent variable, you're reading, you're mentioning outcomes, and yet really is not on your topic. So you must generate this from your topic, so that the independent variable moves seamlessly with your topic. Otherwise, it can be a challenge. I think I will leave that and give the opportunity for Dr. Wandera to perhaps also comment as much, and that of the research methodology. I have also put in quite a lot on the research methodology so that you can be able to look at them deeply, and even highlighted certain areas in red for you to be able to look at it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Winnie. In the interest of time, I will not belabor to repeat what my core has said. I just want to note the following. Elizabeth, I hope you can hear me, isn't it?
Yes.
I think most of the aspect of especially chapter 1 and 2, Winnie has exhaustively covered. There's some element of inconsistency in the schools and the participants, because in your proposal, you state that you are using 18 public schools, and then sometimes there's 19 schools. So what is the number which you are using?
18.
I don't know what 19 is doing in your document. And even in their main formula, the calculation of their main formula is that you are going to have 271 respondents, and yet you target to have 298. So what are you using?
298.
Can there be clarity? Even table 2, can there be clarity? Because sometimes, I don't know, you are talking about data beneficiaries 271, so you need. Again, there is the research questions and the objectives. When you look at your section 1.5 in the proposal, you also note again some kind of a mismatch. You say that there are 5 research questions. Your abstract speaks of 4. What are you using?
5.
Elizabeth, these are very critical areas. 4, 5. Then again, in the summary of your chapter 1, you talk about some 3 null hypotheses, but the actual hypotheses are not anywhere stated in chapter 1. I never saw any hypothesis. What does that mean?
They are left out, they will be included.
Why are they left out and they are mentioned? Yeah, so can you be very keen on what you write and what is there? So just be keen in ensuring, even like the spelling of Langata, at one point there's an apostrophe of Langata, at another point there's no apostrophe. Please, that's very critical. So it's important that you actually ensure that you do very good verification of the numbers you are using. Make sure you have very good you synchronize the size, what are you talking about, so that you are able to ensure very good alignment. A proposal is made up of what kind of objectives are there. That is the anchor of any proposal. Can you ensure that there's good alignment and you avoid some fragmentation? You will see I noted quite some fragmentations.
Okay.
Yes. Otherwise, I want to say this is actually a good study and quite relevant in ensuring inclusivity and quality education among this special group of learners with dyslexia, and also to improve our reading in our very early, which is even a challenge to even those ones who are normal in quote. Otherwise, please, you will look at the comments that we have given, go through them, and I believe this is going to contribute to knowledge on the teachers. Again, what Winnie has said is critical, is the study about the teachers and dyslexia, or is the study about the learners? Let it come out very clearly. Thank you so much, and back to the chair.
Thank you so much, examiners, for those comments. Indeed, this is a very, very important topic. Researches and studies have shown us that there is a problem of reading at that early age, but rarely do they mention this problem. So I think this research comes in at the right time. I don't know if there is any other person with a comment before I allow Elizabeth to make her final submission. Any comment from colleagues around? I don't want to repeat what my colleagues have said. I think, Elizabeth, take note of what they have said. Work with your supervisors to make sure that the document is improved. Elizabeth,
Yes.
1 minute before we move to the next candidate.
Okay, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all on the panel for your insightful contributions, and what you've cited, I've taken them with a lot of seriousness, and I will improve on the document. I'm also glad that it is a very, very valid research, and I will put in more enthusiasm into it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You can pull down your presentation. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
As you rework your document, let us move to the last candidate. Is that Joshua? Is that Joshua?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, Joshua. Please display your work. Joshua, display your work.
Joshua,
Yes,
are you
ma'am.
listening?
Yes.
You're not responding. Can you use the slideshow?
Good. Thank you very much, Joshua. Teacher factors influencing ICT integration in teaching and learning process in schools in Nyiro Ward, Samburu County.
Can you use
Joshua,
the slideshow, Joshua?
Joshua.
Can you say where there's file, home, insert, draw, design, transition, animations, there's slideshow? Can you click on slideshow?
Good. Joshua, as you prepare, this is 8:21. You have 10 minutes to present.
Chair is even hearing. Joshua, can we know whether you are responding?
Hello.
Yeah, can you use the slideshow?
I'm trying to share, but I can't see the.
Can you say where your file? Okay. You have 10 minutes. Can you go ahead?
Joshua, it is 22 minutes past 8. You have 10 minutes. Proceed.
Joshua, are we talking to you?
Yes, I'm there, madam.
Why are you not responsive, Joshua? You know, we need to hear your voice as you respond to us as we ask you what to do.
Okay. Let me. Okay, so I'm presenting teacher factors influencing ICT integration in teaching and learning process in schools. And that is exactly in Niro Ward, Samburu sub county, or Samburu County. So the background of my problem is that the ICT integration in education has become a global priority for improving instruction delivery. And
Joshua, where is your background? Joshua, I already mentioned how to prepare slides. I'm not going to ask you to take us through this process, Joshua. Can we see your slide flow? So can you move to the background? Where are we seeing your topic? You're on background, we are seeing your topic. What is the next slide?
Are you seeing my slides?
We are seeing your slides, but you're not moving. Can we see them move, or can you click to the next slide so that we can see them? Can you answer yes to the question I've given you there? Can you say yes?
Approve.
No, so can you stop moving the mouse? Allow me to move this mouse.
Okay.
Can you continue? I'm the one now with your mouse. Can you continue?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm very sorry. As I said, the background of the problem is that the ICT integration in education has become a global priority for improving instructional delivery and learner engagement. That is as per the UNESCO 2023. Also, when we talk about schools in Euro world experiencing inadequate ICT infrastructure and limited internet connectivity, that is actually addressed by the Ministry of Education. I've quoted 2024. That is, unreliable electricity supply affects the effective use of digital learning technologies in school. Also, in African governments, have introduced ICT policy. Now, there's okay, so also many teachers in the region have limited ICT competencies and insufficient exposure to ICT training program as per the TSC 2023. And also traditional methods continue to dominate due to low teacher preparedness and limited institutional support. The statement of the problem, as far as my research was concerned, is that ICT integration has become an important strategy for improving the quality of teaching and learning globally in Kenya, as per the UNESCO 2023. And also the government and education stakeholders have invested in digital learning program, ICT infrastructure, and also the teacher training activity. Next slide. Also, the ICT integration has become an important strategy for improving the quality of learning and also the learning globally in the Kenya. And also, the government and education stakeholders have invested in digital learning program, ICT infrastructure, and teacher training initiatives, as I quote in World Bank 2022. So the effectiveness of the ICT integration in many schools remains limited, especially in rural areas, especially in marginalized regions such as Nyiro Ward in Samburu County. Next slide. Next slide. So, the purpose of the study. The purpose of this study is to examine teacher-related factors influencing the integration of information and communication technology, that is ICT, in learning and learning processes in schools within Nyiro Ward, Samburu sub-county. So that is the purpose of my study. Next slide. Now, these are the what are now the objectives of the study. So actually, I've just structured one general objective in this study is that the general objective of this study is to investigate teacher factors influencing ICT integration in teaching and learning processes in schools. And that is within Nyiro Ward, which is in Samburu County. Next slide.
Yeah, you know, I'm struggling because you cannot do it your work yourself, and I'm now to do this remotely. Continue with your notes as I try to get the research questions.
Okay, so the research questions. The first question is as how do teachers' attitude influence ICT integration in integration in teaching and learning process? The second research question is that what relationship exists between teacher, ICT competency, professional training, and ICT integration in classroom instruction? How do teaching experience and teacher motivation influence ICT integration in teaching and learning process? The fourth question is how do access to ICT resource and institutional support affect ICT integration in schools? So those are my research questions that I will ask. Now, the limitations of the study. Poor road networks and geographical remoteness in Nyiro Ward may hinder access to some schools. Also, some respondents may provide incomplete or biased responses regarding ICT competence and usage. That is actually maybe the sponsors, or rather the donors. Also, limited time may restrict the number. Okay, so the elimination of the study. The elimination of the study. The study will focus on teacher-related factors influencing ICT integration in primary and secondary school in Nyiro. The targeted respondents will include teachers, school administrators, and ICT coordinators. That will add to actually 200 respondents. The study will examine factors such as teacher attitudes, training, experience, motivation, access to ICT resources, and also the institutional support. Also, the study will exclude factors such as student attitudes, curriculum designs, and also national ICT policies. So, under the theoretical framework, the study is guided by two complementary theories. One, the technology acceptance model, that is in bracket TAM, TAM, and the technological pedagogical content knowledge, TPAC. Also, we all know that, okay, so conceptual framework, that is the ICT competence. We also have the information skills, communication
Tell us
skills.
your independent variable.
Okay, so The dependent variables and the independent variables, as far as my research was concerned, is actually the independent variables is one, the teacher ICT competence, that is the functional input that's highly motivated. Also, we have the intervening variables. We have what we call institutional support, or rather leadership support, ICT infrastructure. That actually talks about the mediators, strong leadership, and reliable teaching infrastructures. We also have what we call dependent variables. That is the ICT integration, and also the ultimate outcome, the successful practicals, and so forth and so on. So I think that is all about the variables. I've talked about independent variables, intervening variables, and also dependent variables. So under the review of the literature, learning outcomes dependent variables, enrollment has increased from 2012 to 2005 as far as UNESCO is concerned. Financial resource base does not singly lead to improvement as far as Hanuskes and Guzman 207 is concerned. Also, learning is stagnating in developing countries' school system. And also, Hugi and Doku have quoted from their work, the role of the instructional leadership at the center as far as Fulham is concerned. So the independent variables, teaching experience in classroom practice, teaching is, we also have teacher attitudes and motivation towards ICT use, and motivation actually and attitude influence sustainable or sustained and meaningful use of ICT in classroom practice, as far as Wanjala and Joroge are concerned. So we also have what we call the intervening variables. Institutional support, effective schools leadership, and availability of reliable ICT infrastructure plays a critical mediating role in ICT integration. So research methodology. So
that is a very an empty, so not me who has put that.
Okay. So the research methodology actually I've used research paradigm. Also, I've used pragmatism. The research design was actually dialectical. Also we have the strategy, a cross-sectional survey, and also the targeted population of around 150 teachers, 10 principals, 30 deputy, and 10 ICT coordinators, and they will add up to 200 some respondents. Next slide. So research methodology, data collection instruments, unit of analysis, and also we have data.
What analysis. Are they? And you're not going to run away from this, Joshua. Please don't take us for a ride. Can you tell us what your data collection instruments are, unit of analysis and data analysis?
Okay. Okay, so about the data collection instrument, the study will use questionnaires, interview guides, and also will focus on group discussion guides and also observation checklist to collect the data. About the unit analysis, we will actually use what we call the quantitative data and will be coded by the analyst using of IBM and also
Joshua, tell us what is a unit analysis. There's a difference between data analysis and unit analysis. This is a public defense. And you've been preparing for all these months.
Okay, so under the unit analysis, the unit analysis I will actually determine what we call, I'll use what we call the sample size.
Can you continue? There's nothing you're telling us there. What is your data analysis?
Okay. Next slide. So the ethical considerations ensure that participants are informed as fully as
Joshua,
possible.
you have already taken over 15 minutes, please. You were given 10, so please wind up.
Okay, I'm winding up. So the ethical consideration ensure the participants are well informed of the nature of the purpose of the research, the procedures to be used, the expected benefits to the participants and society, and also the voluntary nature of their involvement in the right to withdraw from the study at any time. All data provided, written or verbal, will remain confidential and securely stored. Anonymity will be assured for all participants. So I think that is all about my research or my PowerPoint. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Chair, I give it to you.
Thank you so much, Joshua. I want to ask you, looking at your slides and you know the gaps I'm seeing, Joshua, can you tell me if you are ready for this defense?
Yes, sure, I was.
So why are we seeing those gaps? Joshua?
Yes.
Why are we seeing those gaps if you are ready?
I think it's just a type of just actually. I don't know why they are appearing blank, but I will rectify.
Anyway, next time you are making a presentation.
Yeah, may I have a suggestion? I think, Joshua, it is wrong to have Professor Kabaji to wake up in the morning to sit here and you come and give us empty slides, some of them. Chair, I think you need to rule that Joshua repeats this so that he can repeat this defense. It is not fair.
No, maybe I let me first call upon the examiners to say something before we proceed. Examiners, please. Winnie.
Okay, Prof, thank you so much. Yes, is it called Lamarcat? So the teacher factor, let us begin there. What do you mean by teacher factors? This is a good topic that can really provide information on integration of ICT in teaching and learning in Samburu. But what do you mean by teacher factors? What factors? Is a place where it begins to mar this paper? Are you looking at teachers' competence? What exactly are you talking about? And then you'll be able now to tell us also which area of schools are you looking at? Public? Are you looking at primary? Are you looking at what are you looking at? So that is where this paper starts to go wrong, because it lacks those measurabilities amongst your variables. Background, you do not really bring out the gap, the funnel, the manifestation of the problem must be seen from the onset of your paper. You have very little empirical evidence that can highlight the gap of this study. Yes, you have given us in your problem statement, the problems that is facing the neuro ward in Samburu. But you did not enhance the clarity and precision in your work. And therefore, you need to, again, once you miss the research gap from up there, you cannot explain it in your problem statement. I was also worried when you just see questionnaires being thrown there with so many variables, but the objectives are missing, completely missing. So you cannot read the questionnaires without really going through your objectives. These are areas that make up your thematic areas. And also the objectives are very important so that we can be able to see the linkage between these objectives and your topic. Rationale, again, did not bring much, not well articulated, and you need to work on that. I will also go to theoretical underpinnings. You have your theories there, but they are not nuanced. They are not weaved into the study. They don't explain exactly even the choice. Why choose this theoretical underpinning? Limited literature, both, in fact, limited literature here and that needs to build on to this study. So you need to adapt the funnel style, moving down to neuro sub-county. Empirical literature, I did not see much. And this is where you ride on other scholars, scholarly materials. You need to provide the methodology and findings. Once this is also missing, so where do you get a gap? Conceptual framework, I do not know what it is. There were just circles of many, many things, not explaining at all. Nothing of, was explained and documented as independent and dependent variable, completely missing. Also, discussions had problems thereafter. Let me pen my comments there and leave Dr. Wandera to continue also and putting input on the methodology. I found also I put it highlighted in red in some of the places in methodology. Why 150 teachers and then 10 principals? You have no justification. And therefore, please let me pen it there, Prof, and leave it, give the opportunity to Dr. Wandera. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Wandera?
Thank you so much, Winnie. And indeed, you have highlighted quite a number of issues. Joshua, I think my first expectation in the introduction of your proposal is really, because when we talk about ICT integration, is the aspect of the digital literacy competency, which is a core competency in our CBE, our competency-based education. And you have not really even connected that to a very contemporary transitional issue, so that we are able to even look at this relevance in a very broad and practicing, in quotes, educational aspect, digital literacy. And that, please, is important to capture that. The lack of clarity, Madam Winnie have spoken about that. I will not belabor that please make your proposal very clear, very clear. In fact, starting from the table of content, your table of content, there are some minor interchanges. Please, can you align and ensure that your table of content is well written with proper spelling aspect, which are lacking here and there. Now, putting into consideration what Winnie has said, that you need to make your proposal more focused and more clear, a lack of clarity, I want to highlight, for example, in your tools, which actually captured me by, you talk about questionnaires in your proposal, but in mentioning questionnaires, you don't even say who is being administered to. You don't even, for example, say the number. You say it is for teachers. There is a lack of clarity. Your research instruments are just thrown there. Then you have so many instruments. Joshua, you are using the questionnaire, you are using the interview guides, you are using the FGDs, you are using the observation checklist. I don't know. Can you say something about these very many instruments? Joshua, very briefly.
Okay.
Joshua,
So,
are you there?
yes, I'm there.
Mm. Why are you using so many instruments to collect data on this ICT aspect?
Joshua, you need to just respond to the question. You don't have to look the book. You just need to tell us, why did you choose many instruments? This is supposed to be your research, your work, and you know why you are writing so many instruments. Why did you choose many instruments?
Okay, I think I will use questionnaire.
It's not just using a questionnaire, Joshua. You justify why you're using a questionnaire or why you're using, even if you're going to use 100 tools, you have to justify.
Yeah, because like in the questionnaire, the interview guide, there is, all of them have an element of teacher. Whatever you are capturing in the interview guide, I find it still quite there in the questionnaire. You need to consider, just sit with your supervisors and see which are going to be the most relevant instruments. But I would say that this is a very relevant topic. You have tried to have your research proposal have some flow. You need to actually make it sound very convincing. The structure is fairly good, but you need to address the issues that we have brought out here in terms of the clarity and understanding of who are the people, ensuring that the conceptual framework is clear, ensuring that your theoretical framework, the choice of the technology acceptance model, the track framework, we need to see the connectivity, the linkage. And also, I have spoken about the alignment and making it more clear from the table of content. Otherwise, most of the other issues have been captured by Winnie. We wish you well, Joshua.
Thank you very much, examiners, for those comments. Before I step down, the candidate, Joshua, do you have anything to say about the comments that have been made?
Okay, so
Joshua?
Yes, Mwalimu.
Yes, proceed. Many issues have been raised. What do you say? Your final submission.
Okay, so first of all is to thank you for your time and also for your patience. Actually, I was in a place whereby the network issue, I had network issues, so that's why I came late to class, and also I actually ran after Dr. Yuya's call to somewhere that the network is stable. I actually appreciate for the comments. I will take the comments as positively, and also I will work on my research and also to rectify on the places, or rather, or the mistakes that I've done. So I will work on my research once more, so that at least I can, next time I present something, or I will actually present to you something that is viable. So thank you for your time, and may God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Joshua, for your honesty. We wish you all the best. We had 3 candidates to process this morning. I would like to request this candidates to step out briefly. We deliberate for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then you come back so that we can give you our verdict. Dr. Ayoya, kindly let them step out.
Oh, yeah. Everybody go out, other than the whatever, so that we can now be able to have that verdict, and then we shall call the candidates. Okay. Jackie Maritim, you want to step out? Vincent Omondi?
Are all students out?
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Are the students out?
Yeah, I think yes. No, Sheila, can you step out? Or I remove you? You already have your verdicts. You already have your, so you don't need to move out, Sheila. Can remove. Put in waiting room if she wants to join. Actually, I should have put the other ones in waiting room. Okay.
Good. Are the students out?
Yes, Prof. Yes, Chair. Oh, why is Omondi joining again?
Thank you very much. Colleagues,
I'm asking, through the chair.
Yes.
Who is Vincent Omondi?
Yeah, but he has not joined. He's trying to join because his network is poor, but once he joins, I'll remove him. I'm trying to see he's trying to join, but I can see he hasn't reached here yet.
Yeah. So, colleagues, we had 3 candidates. The first one was Bernard. What are we saying about Bernard's work? Dr. Wandera?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, Bernard's work, this is the gentleman who shares with me my name. He's called Bernard Wandera. I want to say there's no conflict of interest here. He's not my relative. He may be my neighbor. Yeah. Yeah. So we have the socioeconomic factors influencing successful transition from this charitable. Yeah, I think his presentation and his proposal, going through it, it meets the threshold of really a good presentation of the proposal. There are various small areas that he will need to work on. And so I gave him for the proposal, which is out of 90, I gave him 74. And then I gave him 8. I gave him 8 for the presentation, and so a total of 82.
Proceed to the next candidate, who was Elizabeth.
Oh, Elizabeth Mumo, the one of dyslexia. Looking
I
at
like
my
the way
comment.
dyslexia. That was
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, it's a good topic.
Exactly.
She'll need to just work a bit with her supervisors for some clarity in the areas that we have identified. So I gave her 73, and then I gave her 8 for presentation.
That's 81, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and then the last one, Joshua.
Oh, I forgot to turn off the
Joshua Lemakat is proposed